Hey guys, Credit Shuffle here. Now there have been details emerging of a new credit card that's supposedly going to hit the market on May 1st. Now this is the US Bank Altitude Reserve Visa Infinite card. Altitude Reserve. I wonder which card that's competing with, huh? Now, news of this did break a couple of days ago, but I was a little bit slow to jump on it just because I'm not super familiar with US Bank. But US Bank is actually the 5th largest bank in the United States. They're headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the town formerly home to Prince. Sorry, if you were born in the 90s or later, you won't get that joke. And they have a large presence in the Midwest. So I live in northern New Jersey, very close to New York City. They only have 2 branches in New York, none where I am in New Jersey. That sort of explains why I'm not super familiar with this bank. But actually, they do have a large selection of credit cards, including the Cub Carlson hotel cards. They have several co-branded airline cards, and they also have their own points currency called Flex Perks. So let's take a look at this new card. Okay guys, so we're back in classic Credit Shuffle mode. Now, this US Bank Altitude Reserve card comes with a 50,000 point sign-up bonus after you spend $4,500 in the first 90 days. There's a $400 annual fee, so that's a little bit cheaper than the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is $450, and cardholders can actually redeem 35,000 points to waive the annual fee. There's a $325 travel credit, so that's $25 more than Chase's Sapphire Reserve. Now, so far, details of this travel credit, it looks like it's not quite as broad as the Sapphire Reserve's travel credit. So far, the information that's available is it covers airlines, hotels, car rental companies, taxis, limousines, passenger trains, and cruise lines. So it looks like it doesn't include subway passes, which that's quite a big thing. If you live in New York City or somewhere with a subway system, you can actually get back your travel credit potentially within 3 months, spending around $100 a month on a subway pass. And then it says taxis. I don't know whether that includes Uber or not. Limousines, maybe that includes Uber. So I'm not quite sure. When more details of this travel credit come out, we will know. Maybe it is quite universal, but details are vague at the moment. And it gets, by the way, automatically credited to your account. But I think if you travel once a year on a plane, you probably will spend more than $325 on air tickets, so I think most people shouldn't have a problem getting this travel credit back, which will lower the annual fee effectively to $75 per year. So what about the points that this card earns? It's not exactly clear what points they are. Maybe they're going to be US Bank's Flex Points. Some bloggers were speculating they're going to be a new points currency called Altitude Points. I'm really not sure, but we do know that they're apparently going to be worth 1.5 cents each when used for purchasing travel, like flights, hotels, etc. They're not transferable to airlines like Chase Ultimate Rewards points are. Now, how does this card earn? Now, this is pretty crucial. It's quite a crucial detail. So it earns 3 points per dollar on travel, same as Sapphire Reserve. But also, there is an additional 3 points per dollar category for mobile wallet spend. Now, this could be awesome. So whenever you use the card with Apple Pay or any of those mobile wallet apps on Android or whatever, you're going to earn 3 points per dollar. And more retailers are accepting mobile wallet purchasing now, especially all the big chains of supermarkets, places like Best Buy, they're all accepting mobile wallet spend. The sort of place where you're likely to spend a large amount of money, they seem to all be accepting mobile wallet, and the list is getting longer. So if you just put this card in mobile wallet, you could potentially be earning 3 points per dollar on almost everything. So that is one quite big plus to this card. Now let's look at some of the perks. So you get the usual things like global entry, TSA credit, car rental insurance, travel coverage, that sort of stuff. We don't really need to talk more about that. Now you get Priority Pass Select membership, but this is where it's a little bit disappointing. So it's the type of Priority Pass Select membership where you get 4 free cardholder visits per year and 4 free individual guest passes too. Obviously the guest has to be with you, so that's 4 visits a year for free. And after that, you have to pay $27 per person for lounge access. So for me, that's not really very attractive. I travel a lot. I've been to way more Priority Pass lounges than that, even just in the 6 months or so that I've had the Sapphire Reserve. But for some people who perhaps don't travel as much and don't want to spend the extra annual fee on perks they don't use, 4 visits a year may actually be enough. So, it's not necessarily bad. There are plus and minuses to everything. Lower annual fee means less perks, but that might be better for some people who don't want to waste their money on something they're not using. And the actual card itself, it's a Visa Infinite. The minimum credit limit is going to be $5,000, which is actually a bit lower than the Sapphire Reserve. Sapphire Reserve minimum is $10,000. The Sapphire Preferred minimum was $5,000. So I feel like this card is kind of trying to slot in there between the Sapphire Reserve and the Sapphire Preferred in a little niche for itself. And it's going to be engraved stainless steel. Now, there is also one final thing about this card. If you want to get it, you must be a US bank customer. You must have a US bank account. And if you want to open a US bank account just to get this card, it will be between 5 and 35 days after your account is opened that you're able to then apply for the card. So those are the main details of this card. There's probably a few that I've missed. If you want to know more, you can go online, do some research yourself. The Points Guy has an article on it. There's a few other travel bloggers that have been writing about this card already. Personally, I think that US Bank is not going on an all-out war with Chase Sapphire Reserve. The fact that you have to have a US bank account for this card, to me, suggests that first and foremost, they're targeting their own customers who perhaps would go and get a Chase Sapphire Reserve, and they're trying to persuade them to stay with a US bank credit card, give them a premium credit card option instead of them going and getting the Chase Sapphire Reserve. It is always more convenient to have the same credit card as your bank account. Additionally, the lower annual fee, slightly higher travel credit, and also the lower minimum credit limit. It's a $5,000 minimum credit limit instead of a $10,000 that Sapphire Reserve has. It kind of suggests that they're trying to target people who are perhaps borderline as whether they could afford the Chase Sapphire Reserve and give them a sort of premium credit card that has lower fees and slightly watered down perks, just to target this sort of little niche kind of in between the Sapphire Preferred and Sapphire Reserve. I'm not sure how big that niche is. Some analysts have been questioning whether there's really room for another premium credit card in the market. So what do I think about this card? Well, personally for me, I feel that the Chase Sapphire Reserve for me is still better, with the obvious exception of the 3x category on mobile wallet purchases on the Altitude Reserve. That is the one real sort of revolutionary aspect of this card that could be very, very exciting. But the fact that Priority Pass on the Altitude Reserve, you only get 4 passes per year, and for guest passes, and obviously the guests always have to go with the card holder, so that's only 4 visits a year. That just wouldn't be enough for me. I've been to Priority Pass lounges 8 times since I got my Sapphire Reserve about 6 months ago, and one time I did bring 3 guests. So those passes would be used up very quickly for me. I really do value that unlimited visits and unlimited guests on Priority Pass. But for some people who don't travel as much, maybe they don't want to spend a higher annual fee for a load of perks that they don't use. They're willing to accept, only 4 visits a year because maybe they only travel a few times a year. So for those people, this card could actually fit very nicely into the exact niche that that they're looking for. A little bit lower fees, a little taste of the luxury perks, but not full on, unlimited access, Priority Pass, and a few of the other perks that you get on cards that are better than this. So guys, what do you think about the Altitude Reserve? Are you excited about it? Leave your comments in the comment section below. And of course, I'm the Credit Shizzle. We'll see you next time with more videos like this. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes what's right is wrong, and instead